TN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Live from UPC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, good morning once again. It's time for our newsreel. Now, like I earlier mentioned, we delve deeper into a conversation regarding gender-based violence. Uganda, together with the rest of the world, from the 25th of November up until the 10th of December, is commemorating the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. We've had many discussions regarding the same, but you can't talk enough when it comes to an evil that is eating up our society. According to Uganda Police Force, 17,000 cases of gender-based violence were reported just last year. And still, according to the police, this is just a fraction of the cases that take place in different parts of the country, because many people do not actually report. There are reports indicating that men are being violated by their wives, especially in parts of districts like Busheng, but then majority of these don't report. But then when it comes to women as well, a big number of women do not report. And gender-based violence takes many faces. It comes in form of physical violence, economic violence, to mention but a few. There is also the sexual violence that most people know about. So there is a lot to unpack when it comes to gender-based violence. It shows that many women, about 51% of Ugandan women, have experienced violence in their lives at some point. Many of them report intimate partner violence, but then we have gender-based violence against young children like girls. So when I say there is a lot to unpack here, there is a lot to unpack here. My name is Olive Monica Najuma, and I'll be having this conversation with Juliet Namukasa, who is the country director, LM International, and also Margaret Nasanga, who is the coordinator, Uganda Alcohol Policy Alliance. Now, what I need to mention is that would like the conversation to actually take a different dimension, and we want to look at breaking the cycle, alcohol, violence, and vulnerable communities. Because let's face it, you will find that because someone was under the influence of whatever poison they took, they ended up violating the people they live with, maybe the children, maybe the wives, and sometimes the husbands. So this is the conversation that we are going to delve into and see the triggers, but also how best we can curb this. I like to call it the evil, because ideally, in the 21st century, the year of our Lord 2024, we should not be violating each other. We should not be having conversations around male dominance against women. That should not be happening. But that could be my view. I'll talk to the ladies that are experts when it comes to issues, fighting for women, fighting for rights. Good morning.
Good morning.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Monica.
How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
I am great.
Yes.
Yes, good morning. And
good
you're
morning,
welcome.
Monica.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Nice being here this morning and talking about this very important subject.
Okay, now let's delve into it, and I will start with Miss Juliet Namukasa. You work with LM International, which works in northern Uganda, and it's a refugee settlements, focusing among others on issues on grassroots advocacy and community level interventions regarding alcohol use and gender-based violence. So I would like for us to start there. So since this is what you do, can you describe how alcohol use contributes to gender-based violence, and in the areas where you cover in northern Uganda and refugee settlements, and if there are any specific patterns or incidents that you've seen more frequently?
Thank you so much, Monica. And as LM International, our work was not originally into issues of gender because we're into water hygiene and sanitation and livelihoods. Then it is our livelihood component that drew our attention to how much harm or issues of violence that our communities face. In northern Uganda, at the time we went, people were just coming out of the war, so issues of mental health was big. People were trying to cope, and somewhere there lingering was the issue of alcohol. Now, what would happen was that under the influence of alcohol, men would not embrace their responsibilities. Actually, we picked interest at a time when one man killed his wife. He had been on a drinking spree. Then he comes home to pick household assets to go and exchange them for alcohol. And the woman, in the bid to fight and stop him, he beat her up, left her for dead, and he fled. What he didn't understand that actually at the point he left, the wife was dead. It is the sight of twins circling a body in the compound that attracted the pass-buyers, only to find that the woman was already dead and the children, the babies, were circling the body of the dead mom. And such are some of the experiences we have. Now, that is on the extreme, but we've seen a lot of defilement, a lot of rape, fighting in homes, when men do not take responsibility, like providing for their households, and then they expect to come back home and demand for food. This woman who has worked hard to ensure that she puts food on the table for her children will many times has said, I'm not going to give you food because I'm struggling to provide for the children. The little money that you had, you spent it on alcohol, I'm not giving it to you, I'm not giving you the food. Consequently, they end up fighting. Now, seeing that and knowing the role of community leaders and cultural and religious leaders in the community, we have pulled in cultural leaders and the community leaders, religious leaders, telling them, let us address this vice of alcohol, which is rendering some of our men irresponsible, so that they can take charge of their households. Maybe we will see a reduction in in gender-based violence. And where that has been, again, we have seen reduction in that. Yeah, thank you.
You have seen reduction in that. What other specific patterns or incidents have you seen happening in these communities?
We have a lot of child neglect. The girl child has suffered a lot. Because when these guys come to drink, the revelers, because alcohol is sold in homes,
yes.
When these guys come to drink, they sexually assault these girls, and we have had a lot of teenage pregnancies as a result. Violating the girls is one of those big things, but also not only are the women struggling, but we are also seeing changing patterns. That with women empowerment, when some of the women have gotten their money, also some of them have actually denied men some of either conjugal rights, or they have literally neglected their responsibility at home, and that has also fueled issues of violence in different homes. Yeah.
Wow, a lot to unpack there, but still with you, Juliet, what have been some of the key challenges in addressing alcohol-related violence, especially when it comes to protecting children and women in rural areas? Now, a case in point, the ones that are in homesteads where the alcohol is sold.
Children have a right to protection. They must be protected from abuse. Now, and we must have a good environment where they can grow up from. These children, many times, especially the girl child, they are the ones who serve drinks already that is not right. But as I've told you, that once the men have drunk, it is actually this girl they turn to. They will touch her body parts. They will reach out her breasts, they'll touch her bums. I mean, they will speak very, very irresponsible words, very, very seductive words. And at times when she pulls off or she pulls away, because this is the man who is bringing money at home when he buys alcohol, some of the mothers feel like, are you sure? Or other people look at her with that eye when she has been a little assertive, trying to claim her position, claiming her right. We have seen that happening. But also these children, in some cases, have been introduced to alcohol early, and therefore many things happen to them. Some of them wake up and they don't know which man actually used them, so something like that. But also some men come back home, or even mothers today, because the LC5 chairman of Agago told me that even women these days use a lot of alcohol. And men come back home under the influence of alcohol, they are shouting, and everybody has to find where to hide because he's not able to control his actions anymore. And when it has come to women, they have also abandoned their responsibility at home. So these children are left to whom it may concern, and yet we know that someone must be there and care for them. And because they have been left to whom it may concern, they have also had to find maybe desperate ways of survival. And we have seen some of these girls succumbing to guys giving them either chapati or a drink or sanitary towels just to find a way of survival. But if the parents were there responsible, this girl would not be that vulnerable. Yeah.
All right, we are looking at the regulation of alcohol in order to curb gender-based violence. So we are looking at alcohol, violence, and vulnerable communities. And I am speaking to Miss Juliet Namkasa, who is the who works with LM International in northern Uganda, and Miss Nasanga Margaret, who is who works with Uganda Alcohol Policy Alliance. She works in Kampala, advocating for alcohol regulation at the national level to reduce violence and protect vulnerable populations. Now turning to you, ma'am, you're advocating for alcohol regulation in Uganda. Yes. So how do you see alcohol use contributing to violence in urban settings?
Okay, thank you so much, Monica. Allow me to touch base a little with what Juliet has shared. You find that when it comes to alcohol, we have similar scenarios in the community and in the urban setting. You find that most of these drinking joints, there has to be a bait that attracts customers to come.
And sex.
Either it is the beautiful girls, whereby if you find that the mother has aged and she has a daughter who is young, so she has to be there to be the bait to bring in the men, because we know most times it is the men who come to drink. Yes. At times for us, the women, the money we get is to cater for our children, but the men have a little extra to spend on drinking. So when it comes to the regulation to protect the vulnerable against the violence, you find that, okay, I work with Uganda Alcohol Policy Alliance, and we've been in this agenda since 2009 up to now. And we work with several stakeholders. We are a network organization where we have members who are in the community. They do subnational advocacy and we do national advocacy. So 2019, we worked with the Ministry of Trade, where there was the banning of alcohol sold in sachets. Those days you find that most of the urban areas were a mess because of the sachets. People would drink, just drop anywhere.
Sure.
There would be a lot of traffic accidents. You find a boda guy very early in the morning on his bike, his little sip as he drives. So there would be a lot of accidents which could be avoided So with the ban currently, at least you find that there is less litter, and there has been some control because of the inconvenience of the bottle. The other ones were easy to pocket, unlike what we have today. Yes, and so far we have had good milestones, like we have the policy, which is the framework for the bill. So when we have these regulations in place, they are yardsticks where we talk about availability, where we're talking about the drinking times. Currently we had the bill in offing, which was talking about, it had recommendations of the drinking time, 5 up to midnight, where we are encouraging people to first work in the morning, productivity, like we are here today.
Yes.
You feel good. And actually, even your people feel good. Mama has gone to work. They know at the end of the day, there will be food at the table.
True.
So we are encouraging all Ugandans, morning times. We all know morning times are productive hours.
Yes.
Let us engage in active work. In the end, we'll have a better nation, we'll have better communities, better families. Then we talk about protection of the underage. We are talking about 21 years because we believe by 18, majority are still in school. They still have parents they're still depending on. They are not yet independent. So we believe by 21, the brain has matured. We have to protect them from early exposure to alcohol. Then it comes to the marketing. The bill has regulations of marketing. Most of the marketing right now, it is to entice. It is very glamorous, attracting the young people that we have. Which young people are not working? Very few of them are productive. So it means whatever they get, which is for their own good use, it will be diverted to alcohol. You find a student at university, he has already blown the tuition, and he misses graduation because he couldn't sit for exams. So those are some of the regulations that we are lobbying to be in place to protect the Ugandans for a better Uganda of tomorrow.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I understand when you say 21 years is should be the age when people can't take alcohol, because the prefrontal cortex is matured at the age of 25.
Yes.
And it is what is associated with a lot of brain function and
executive functions.
Executive function, yes. So I get it, because 18 is a bit young.
Yeah.
18 is the prefrontal cortex is still in development.
Yes.
Yes. But when you look at some of the differences between the challenges in urban areas and rural communities like Agago, what would you say are the differences when it comes to regulation of alcohol use in urban centers and places like Abim, places like Agago?
Okay, we can try to describe the urban setting.
Yes.
This is a collection center of all people of all walks of life. The elite, the illiterate. You find there are those who come to Kampala just for greener pastures. Without any relative, they just come to Kampala. So you find that there are those who have homes. At the end of the day, at 6, they know where they are going back to. And there are those who don't. So you find that the crime rate, the densely populated area, at times regulating, putting control measures for such people. There are those who understand you. There are those who don't understand you. There are those who don't mind. You understand? And so it becomes a challenge. Then in the urban setting, it has also been a challenge whereby the law enforcers are also victims. You find that this person is supposed to enforce the 5 p.m. opening time, but this person owns a bar and he needs the business. So he feels that morning to 5, that's a lot of business that I will have lost. So enforcement, we've been having some scanty laws here and there, but their enforcement has been lacking because of that challenge. Then the different cultures. There are those cultures that allow drinking from the day the child is born, they are initiated. So then you find that it is also easily accepted. It's a lifestyle. Any celebration you have, there has to be alcohol. Today, most of the celebrations, be it a graduation party,
Yes.
birthday parties.
Yes.
The other time, there was a time I had, they served children a cake,
And
which
it wasn't
one of
with
the,
alcohol. Yeah.
So at the end of the day, they had issues with the children around who are falling down, and when they checked, there was a bad ingredient which was not for the consumption of children, but for the elder ones who were already intoxicated, their brains could match with it, but for the children they couldn't. So the lifestyle we have currently, we have embraced alcohol almost everywhere. You are celebrating a success, it has to be a bottle of wine. So it's a challenge in the urban setting.
Okay. Now, relating alcohol use to gender-based violence, from a policy perspective, how do you think alcohol regulation could help reduce gender-based violence, particularly in the context of vulnerable populations like youth and marginalized communities?
Thank you so much, Monica. So when we talk about the different regulations, the different yardsticks in place, let's say 5 p.m., the opening time, if it is 5 p.m. to midnight, it means the availability, the exposure of these young people to alcohol is reduced. When it comes to taxation, of course, the taxation component will increase the price. So it means there are those young people who will not be able to afford the alcohol. So they are already eliminated. Maybe they'll go for a soda, they'll go for water, something else. They have several substitutes, by the way. So at times I'm not worried when people say that Uganda will lose money because the taxes have increased. No, we have a lot of other commodities in the economy where people will spend that money.
Yes.
So the other thing, it also protects the vulnerable woman at the end of the day, who at the end of the day is exposed to this violence that Juliet was talking about. The fights, the crime rates will be reduced. So we benefit at the end of the day. The major emphasis is productivity. When you have a poor population, there are a lot of conflicts. The gap between the haves and the have-nots becomes bigger. So in the end, you have so many jealous people, so many envious people, and we have this cluster of people. I have to get it by hook or crook. So they'll come and fetch what you have.
All right. Now, I would like to come back to you, Juliet. Let's speak about the impact on vulnerable populations. In your experience, how does alcohol use particularly affect vulnerable groups like children, women, and youth in communities you serve?
Thank you so much, Monica. When you ask me that question, what goes to my mind is a Choli P primary school in per day. It's per day. That's one live example. Parents in that school were not supporting their children. The storms blew off the roof, and these children, primary, and these children would come and sit on the floor, open roof, and the parents were waiting for government to come and help. This is a government school, and would expect the government to come in. But when we went to that school, we found that the school already had iron sheets, and what they needed was to mobilize timber. However, these parents were not even contributing the Parent Teachers Association fund. They could not mobilize timber amongst themselves. So we sat and did the calculation, and we said, how much would you need to put up the roof? And we saw that what they needed was someone sacrificing 2 bottles of beer. That would be their contribution. To sacrifice 2 bottles of beer, and your children would have a roof over their head, because the iron sheets were there. So that's one of the things that for me I told myself. We sat and we saw that they actually admitted that we are spending money on alcohol, but we are not doing the basic things that we're able to do. And they said it is easier for them to mobilize money for alcohol than to mobilize money to, for example, do something that is constructive in the community. For me, that was very, very unfortunate. They are not contributing. Children are not having books in school because they are saying the government will have to contribute to that. But every day they are able to raise money and take alcohol. And even they say that if I do not have money, my friend will buy alcohol for me. But they are not able to give me money to take my child to school. Now, that is one of those big problems. I told you about child neglect. It is so rampant in northern Uganda, and women have had to share that responsibility. We have seen, it's unfortunate, we have seen children going to school without food, spending the whole day without food, and yet they have able-bodied parents. And when you ask the parents what the problem is, the wife will tell you, I can only manage so much, because again they have so many children. I can only manage so much. But my husband is not supporting me, because even the little that we make, the husband will come and take it and spend it on alcohol. Because culturally, when you marry a woman and you have paid, is it the dowry or bride price? That woman becomes, when they were telling us the hierarchy of assets they own, at that point the woman was on top of the hierarchy. She was like, she was like also an asset. And what she owned was the kitchen. Everything else belonged to the man. Meaning that even the produce she gets from the garden belongs to the man. She doesn't have the final say. Meaning that even if she wants to improve the life of her child, she cannot do that effectively, because the man has such a big say on what is done in such a home.
Now, so, Juliet, as we wind, what are some of the community interventions and advocacy you've carried out in these communities?
We have brought together, that's a very good question, because fighting this vice requires everybody's efforts. We have brought together the cultural leaders, because they are the custodians of values. Now we have learned that in northern Uganda, if you are not carrying out your responsibility, culture has the powers to bring you, they can even cane you. So we have brought on the cultural leaders. The religious leaders have also come in, and the political leaders. Now, at grassroots level, LC1s. Now, all of those have formed groups. We call them community advocacy groups, like groups of 30. They come together. They mobilize their own resources, go village to village, talking about responsibility, the dangers of alcohol. The cultural leaders will give the cultural perspective. The political leaders will bring in issues to do with some of the policies that exist and the bylaws. Then the religious leaders come in with a message that if you're struggling and you have failed, we can pray for you. So,
and have you got positive feedback from this? For
me, that has been the most successful intervention in all that we have done. When those parties come together, miracles happen.
So it is a concerted effort. Leaders, community leaders, religious leaders, political leaders, everyone.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Juliet. Now, Margaret, as we come to the end, from a policy standpoint, what are the most urgent regulatory measures you believe need to be implemented like yesterday?
Number one would be protecting the underage. We have to protect the youngest population that we have. Over 75% we have of the population are youth, those who are under 18, under 35. So we need regulations in place to protect them such that at the end we have a productive population. When you have people entering the workforce age and you have several of them, you are safer than having dependents all over the country. So increased taxation, protecting the young children, the age limit, 21. I think that's a plus for us if we can have it in the country. The US has 21 also, though it is legal to own a gun at 18, but when it comes to alcohol, even in the US it is 21.
Even in the UK it is 21.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, ladies. This has been an insightful conversation, because a lot is lost in translation when we talk about gender-based violence. We broaden the conversation, but then there are attributes to it, especially in marginalized communities, that we normally do not, or we skip and don't pay so much attention to. And I believe that many homes have been affected by alcohol use in one way or another. When a father comes home under the influence and he's wreaking havoc and everyone scatters, that's not a happy place for children to grow up. And also the marriage, if any, it's not going to thrive because you live in constant worry that something is going to happen. So this has been quite an enlightening conversation. Thank you so much, ladies. I've been speaking to Juliet Namkasa, who is the country director, LM International, and Margaret Nasanga, who is the coordinator, Uganda Alcohol Policy Alliance. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Monica.
Stick with us. Good Morning Uganda continues.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Maskari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archived stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, every story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Nyati Motion Pictures brings you Tuko Pamoja Luo segment. Learn about the famous legend of Jipiri and Labongo and how the Alur, Acholi, Jonam and Japadola Jaluo emerged.
The Luo are basically Nilotic.
We are believed to have come from Baragazel in the Sudan.
When this colonialism came,
Which saved the life of men actually. Fought fiercely.
which was imprisoned here on that hill, Kololo.
Which remained the greatest hero in Acholi.
Premiering in Gulu City at Boma Hotel on Sunday 8th December 2024. Gates open at 4:30 p.m. To get a ticket, call 0778 787 660. Tuko Pamoja?
Pick of the day on UBC.
He expected me to die like within the first 2 years.
Out of the blue, the child will get pains, especially in the wrists. And this happens commonly when children are starting to walk.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, you can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000. Or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21 hash and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Juko. Yo. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. But what you can do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better.
PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
We're going to be talking about farming, but it's not me that's going to do that.
My name is Hava K. Luanga.
My name is Larry Charles K.
Let's go!
Mixed farm is a type of farming that involves growing crops and raising livestock. This is the spice garden and for the vegetables.
My first favorite spice has to be black pepper.
What's black pepper in Uganda?
Kamulali or mudagavu.
What? We're going to talk about the sechunga. We're going to see how big it is, as big as Larry's head. And then we're going to talk about the mangada. So we're going to get there. We have still so many farms to visit. And I would like to hear from you. This is the Little Farmer Show, and we are bringing coolness back to farming. See you!
Live from UPC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, good morning. It's now time for business, and we started off with the money lenders across Uganda that gathered at Kingdom Kampala under the Money Lenders Association of Uganda to express their concerns regarding a recent government directive capping interest rates on loans at 2.8% per month. Now, this measure, enacted to protect borrowers, has sparked significant backlash from licensed lenders who argue that it threatens their operations. Now, Jonan Kandwanaho, the chairperson of the Uganda Money Lenders Association, emphasized that the cap disproportionately affects licensed lenders, while unlicensed and unscrupulous operators continue to exploit borrowers with exorbitant rates. He highlighted that there are over 60,000 informal money lenders in Uganda, many of whom operate outside the law, leading to predatory lending practices that harm the consumers. In response to the cap, the association has formally written to the Auditor General seeking a meeting with government officials to discuss their grievances. The association is committed to promoting responsible lending and urge the government to consider the impact of its regulations on licensed money lenders who play a crucial role in providing financial services to underserved communities in Uganda. Now, the Uganda Money Lenders Association was established in 2019 to advocate for ethical lending practices and works closely with the Uganda Microfinance Regulatory Authority, UMRA, to ensure compliance within the sector. Now, away from that, new focus now turns to business of organic health and nutritional products, as New Image International is looking at empowering organic health solutions in the same space to ensure that at least many can have alternative medicine that is nutritious, and on top of it giving them an opportunity to affordable medication. Now, in this report, we had a sit down with Lucy Tumtenjerize, and this is what we gathered.
Lucy Tumtenjerize. I work with New Image International. New Image International is from New Zealand. This is Uganda branch. We are here doing health and wellness through organic colostrum products. Colostrum products are made out of the pre-milk when the cow or any mammal that breastfeeds produces the first day. That milk is called colostrum, and that is where our products are made from. They are good because the milk has all the components, all the nutrients that a human body, a healthy person needs. With all that the cow eats, it comes in that colostrum. And it is the one which gives the immunity to any young child, any young calf who has just been born, so that they get strength to move and to grow. If a child does not breastfeed with that colostrum, or a cow, it will either die or will be very sickly because it didn't get the immunity first day. New Image here in Uganda since 2019, we have thrived very well because colostrum is different from herbal products, and because it is compatible with our human bodies very well. It repairs, it rejuvenates, it brings immunity to people, such that whoever has a problem, once they touch it, once they use it, it makes their health back to normal. We have worked with so many people. Right from it came at the verge of the COVID-19, and very many people were having that problem, but we could give them the products, Lifeline and Immunofort, people who were on oxygen, and they would be discharged in 5 days, while the products can take a month, but in 5 days they would go. And from there we have worked with so many people with cancer, with diabetes, with pressure, with ulcers, with hormonal imbalance, with bald head, with prostate cancers and prostate enlargements, all different kinds of children's immunities and deficiencies. All of them, we have them, and they have really improved people's health. Personally, I came to know New Image as a person when I had my 3 challenges. I had hormonal imbalance where I could bleed for 20 days in a month, and also had serious ulcers where I could vomit blood and also diarrhea blood. I also had terrible allergies. In the morning, it would make my face swell and I would be troubled. But when I was read to New Image and I used Lifeline, colostrum, and Immunofort, I noticed in that very month I could bleed 4 days. So since 2019, I have bled 4 days. After 33 years of bleeding 20 days. And the ulcers went, I can fast as much as I want. The allergies are done because I realized that the products, they fix the gut, which is the root cause of all our problems. When the gut is not healthy, it will not separate the bad nutrients which are supposed to be excreted into the kidneys and the liver. They all pour in the bloodstream. So once they enter into the blood, as the blood circulates throughout the body, it will bring the toxins and all those dirt, and they are the ones where we get problems. And sicknesses come from there. All kinds of sicknesses we have are as a result of autoimmune diseases because of our lifestyles, which we don't do very well.
Okay. And where do you, again, if you can take us back to, where do you get the raw materials, and how affordable are these products?
Our products come straight away from New Zealand. So they are made from New Zealand. They come when they are already finished. And when it comes to affordability, people have managed to afford, because what people need is something which works for them. There are so many products on the market, but people are disappointed. They use it and it does not help them. But there is nobody who has come and used colostrum and have ever regretted. So people, they work hard and they get it. And once they use it and it repairs, imagine a person was going to be operated for goiter. Me, I was going to be operated for hormonal imbalance, and that is a lot of money. A person is having a kidney failure, person is going through dialysis, and you just bring them, a person have goiter, they are going to be operated, and once they use them, they are okay, they are fixed because they go back to the root cause, and once they have repaired the part which was damaged. Yeah, it has been my question how we can get to the government Minister of Health and work with them and integrate, because our products are very well researched. We have all different doctors right in New Zealand and at our regional office in South Africa. All the doctors in different fields are there, and they are working very well both with the hospital medicine, pharmaceuticals, and integrating it with colostrum, and they find it very helpful because these ones they help even the pharmaceuticals to work better after. For instance, Lifeline has cleansed the body, the internal organs, and it has given it immunity. It is easier even for the pharmaceutical medicine to work. So if the government could embrace what we call functional medicine, where our products falls, so that it can be balancing both the pharmaceuticals and healthy products which are approved, which are working, so that people can benefit from both. Yeah, I would actually welcome each and every person to embrace natural organic products, because they are not toxic, they don't have any toxins, there is no chemical in them, they are natural, and they work as food. So they work very well, they repair the body very well, and once you are using them, you have all the nutrients the body needs, that you remain healthy and stronger. Not to forget, as you see my hair here, I used a product called colostrum. It's very good to improve on the hair texture, and it also works very well for the men who have problems with sexual functions in all kinds of it, to be able to get back to their normal functioning. So it's very good that everybody can use it, because the food we are eating nowadays, they are intoxicated with all the chemicals. Look at the chicken, which is grown in 3 weeks. Look at all the vegetables which are spread. All those get into our internal organs, the liver, the kidney, and that's why we are getting an increase in all these diseases. The cancer is on an increase because the things we are using, they are already full of chemicals. So when we use these products, they will clean all those toxins and all those the dust we are using, we are passing through and working in, and will remain healthy and stronger. In fact, people who knew me when I was in 20s, when they look at me now, they right from my village, they say I look younger and stronger and healthier than those days. So I'm very happy to have met a new image, and I can never stop talking about it, because it has made a big difference in my life. As we wind up, we are located at Kampala Boulevard, which is directly opposite the main post office here at Kampala Road and Bank of Uganda. And you can reach me on my 2 numbers. WhatsApp number is MTN 0782 454762, and Airtel number for calling also 0702 605299.
All right, and that does it for the business updates, but we now sum it up with what is coming in from the forex market, courtesy of the central bank. $91 shillings, while selling was 3,685.91. By midday, the US dollar was buying at 3,674.59, while selling was 3,684.59. Closing time saw the US dollar buy at 3,673.55, while selling was 3,683.55. The Great Britain pound was buying at 4,659.53, while selling at 4,600. 72.21. The euro was buying at 3,861.63 while selling at 3,872.14. The Kenyan shilling was buying at 28.36 while selling at 28.44. Tanzania 1.39 while selling at 1.39. Now to the South African rand, it was buying at 202.77 while selling at 203.33. These exchange rates are updated 3 times daily. Well, business will be back on Monday, same time here on Good Morning Uganda at 8:40 a.m. As matters business on UBC at 8:30 p.m. every Saturday is the business roundup. We'll give you the headlines of the business reports that have made rounds throughout the week. Olive Monica Najuma is here though for the traffic updates. Good morning.
Good morning, Uganda continues. Now it is time for our traffic updates. My name is Olive Monica Najuma. We start off right in the heart of Ntinda, looking at the surrounding roads and routes to see how you get to town. Now within the trading center in Ntinda, just around the roundabout, the intersection that brings you from the sides of Chiwatule and Chambogo Road plus Chisasi, and then going the side of Chigobe Road, we have a bit of traffic jam in this particular area, mainly because of the traffic lights. But continuing with this stretch of Ntinda Road, we have smooth flow of traffic right from the town within the middle of Ntinda Trading Center, continuing still along Ntinda Road. That this route takes you up until Nakawa, and from what I see here, it would be a good decision for you to use it because there is smooth flow of traffic. Now at some intersections you might encounter a bit of yellow zones over here, but not for a long stretch, so you should be able to move in a record time. Those coming in from Matters Way, it also looks pretty clear. There is smooth flow of traffic over here as you join Ntinda Road. The same applies to Chimera Road and Commercial Road. So from what I see here, as we continue with the Stretcher Road, we have a smooth flow of traffic still along this stretch. Well, that does it for our traffic updates.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
He expected me to die like within the first 2 years.
Out of the blue, the child will get pains, especially in the wrists. And this happens commonly when children are starting to walk.
Was brought to you by
can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000. Or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Nyati Motion Pictures brings you Tuko Pamoja Luo segment. Learn about the famous legend of Jipiri and Labongo and how the Alur, Acholi, Jonam and Japadola Jaluo emerged.
The Luo are basically Nilotic.
We are believed to have come from Baragazelle in the Sudan.
When this colonialism came,
which saved the life of men actually,
fought fiercely,
which was imprisoned here on that hill, Kololo.
Which remained the greatest hero in Acholi.
Premiering in Gulu City at Boma Hotel on Sunday 8th December 2024. Gets open at 4:30 p.m. To get a ticket, call 0778 787 660. Tuko pamoja?
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Maskari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archived stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, every story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Juko. Yo. What you check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better.
PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
We're going to be talking about farming, but it's not me that's going to do that.
My name is Hava K. Luanga.
My name is Larry Charles K.
Let's go!
Mixed farm is a type of farming that involves growing crops and raising livestock. This is the spice garden and for the vegetables.
My first favorite spice has to be black pepper.
What's black pepper in Uganda?
Kamulali or mudagavu.
What? We're going to talk about the sechunga. We're going to see how big it is, as big as Larry's head. And then we're going to talk about the mangada. So we're going to get there. We have still so many farms to visit, and I would like to hear from you. This is the Little Farmer Show, and we are bringing coolness back to farming. See you!
His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the President of the Republic of Uganda and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, assigned Uganda Prison Service a task to produce food and animal feeds. This was a directive of July 2022 to Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries to allocate land to Uganda Prison Service for food production. The allocation totaled to 50,000 acres, in which 30,000 acres is maize grain